With Soundwave being one of my favourite characters in all of the Transformers, I've been looking for a figure that encapsulates the G1 version of him for my modern mainline collection. We have Siege Soundwave, and that doesn't quite scratch the itch that I've been looking for. And then the Netflix version came out, and I wasn't able to pick that up. But then they released the Shattered Glass version of the character, and it's just the Netflix mold but in a different coloration. So I thought we'd take a look at that to see if the Netflix mold would be a good idea for a modern collection. The first thing I want to say about this figure is it looks amazing in the Shattered Glass scheme. Even though I'm looking for a G1 Soundwave, just the shininess on this and how it perfectly goes in with the white and the teal, I love how this figure looks. But obviously it's not gonna fit in a G1 collection because it's not the G1 color scheme and all that. So starting off with the posability, Soundwave can look up this far and down that far. He has full rotation of the head, bicep swivels, double elbows, wrists do weird posability things. He has a full waist swivel, his arms go up that far and down that far. He has 90 at the knee and his legs can go forward this far and not back, well, kind of. There's a butt flap in the way that if you move it can go all the way back, but normally it just can't. And he's got a thigh swivels and an ankle rocker. But he is able to get some great poses out of the range that he does have. No review on a Soundwave figure will be complete without talking about his chest gimmick that every Soundwave in the history of ever has except for Bayformers because it's a whole different thing. If you notice on Soundwave's chest there is a button on his shoulder, and if you press that his chest will open where you can actually house his cassette that comes in. So Soundwave comes with two cassettes, one being Laserbeak and one being Ravage. Laserbeak's transformation is nice, it's simple, but Ravage's, it's too complex for the size and it makes me feel like I'm gonna break it, mostly because I have before. It's a whole thing. I was transforming him one day and his leg just snapped off. I don't have it anymore, but it did cause me to have a spare Laserbeak after I bought a second one, so I turned that into a crap version of Buzzsaw. And talking about his accessories, you may have noticed that he has his shoulder cannon on. That's a parts forming piece, but it's fine because it's Soundwave and it turns into a battery for his cassette. But he also comes with his battery gun thing. I don't know if it actually has a name, but I've always just called it the battery gun. He looks amazing with it. But then he also comes with this weird gun staff thing. This is a carryover from the Siege version, which had it as well. I just ended up using that on the back of my Megatron. The transformation on this is just a basic Soundwave transformation with the head folding away and then the arms going behind and the legs coming up. Pretty much if you've owned a cassette Soundwave before, it's gonna be familiar. Except this one decides to faux form. And I'm fine in this case, but normally I don't like faux forming just because it doesn't feel as complete as you're cheating to get the desired look. And here in cassette player mode, it looks like the cassette player it's trying to be, I guess. I don't really know what to say here because it's a cassette player. There's not much you can say, but the fact that this is a retool from the Siege version causes the sides of it to have this weird indent shape instead of like every other Soundwave where it's just flat on the sides. But that's just its nature as a retool, which it really should have been a new mold. But the fact that it still has this front piece that's a faux piece for the cassette buttons, I understand why they did it, but it didn't really need to happen. The fact that Soundwave turns into a cassette player makes it so you can't really get any good vehicle shots of it. Like, it can get great You can get some great cassette player shots out of it, but putting up in a lineup with vehicles, it's not as good. But here he is alongside my other sound waves, which actually makes it look good, all in contrast. Altogether, I think if you're trying to get a good version of Soundwave for a G1 modern mainline shelf, just go with the Siege or now the Legacy. They're the same mold, but get that version of Soundwave. Sure, it has the yellow eyes, but it's gonna work better in your shelf than the Netflix or Shattered Glass molds, in my personal opinion. Because this figure doesn't quite hit the mark that I really wanted it to, but don't get me wrong, I love the figure, it just doesn't feel like Soundwave. This has been the review for Shattered Glass Netflix Soundwave. Do you prefer this mold or the Siege mold? Tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching.